Visma Lease Bike throw everything at Tadej Pogacar to Plateau de Beille, but would he budge? So far in this Tour de France, he has been the dominant rider. That's why he has 2 minutes on GC. Big win up to Plateau de Beille yesterday, but now a longer test. 200-kilometer long stage, 4 Category 1 steep climbs before the main course of Plateau de Beille, about a 45-minute climb, 16 kilometers at just under 8%, and breakaway formation began uphill on the Pere Sourde. But look, Matteo Jorgensen trying to slip into moves, or at least following moves, and that merits a response, obviously, from UAE Team Emirates with Adam Yates. So the break was not going anywhere on that first opening climb. And then Remco has to follow because Yates is getting in the break. They don't want a repeat of the situation in the crosswinds the other day. Eventually, Lascano and Gadu find out the KOM points. Bini hangs on just behind, and he'd take intermediate sprint points, which Philipsen couldn't take. But otherwise, the break really doesn't form at all on that opening climb. It's on the descent and the valley afterwards where the GC teams, they're not going to take crazy risks on the descent, and in the valley it kind of just rolls away. Bob Jungels goes away up the road and he's joined by Jai Hindley, and so Hindley's got Jungels, Dens, and eventually Sobrero later to pull in this valley. And so here the break forms. Michael Matthews there, DSM missed it, EF missed it with Carapaz and Healy, who they wanted in. Enric Mas made it, and so it was the next climb, the Col de Monte, another 30-minute steep climb at about 9% gradient, where Jungels again tries to keep it going for Jai Hindley. He's trying to keep Richard Carapaz, who he only lost 2 minutes 30, I think, on Plateau de Beille yesterday. So that's GC contender numbies. You don't want to let Carapaz back into the breakaway if you can avoid it. But Visma Lease Bike, we haven't seen this all Tour de France. They begin to smash on that second climb of the day. Bernal dropped, and Aaron Baru and the other guys helping their climber in the breakaway like Jungels and Sobrero, they have their work cut out on Col du Portet d'Aspet. Benoit takes over on a steep climb that suits him. Van Aert looking better than previous stages. And yeah, Jungels just about keeps them ahead of the Visma Lease Bike train, obviously motivated for Jonas Vingegaard wearing the polka dots today to try and drop Tadej Pogacar. So breakaway survives. They have to hope the valley is where they can take some time. De Plus is in there. Is he in there for the stage win or as a satellite rider for Carlos Rodriguez? It's a hotter day today, about 30 degrees. Pogacar pouring water over himself. And the breakaway does get a gap before the Col d'Agnes, 3 minutes 50 before Benoit goes again and the climbers come to the top. Enric Mas, Jai Hindley, De Plus, Richard Carapaz, these are serious climbers up the road, and the group is getting whittled down on that second last climb. We've still got 63 Ks to go. When Wilco Kelderman takes over, the group's about 15 riders, let's say, and Visma are obviously laying it all on the line, because if Kelderman pulls off, they've only got Jorgensen left for Jonas Vingegaard. Almeida's still there with Pogacar as well as Adam Yates, but the group is definitely getting whittled down, and the breakaway loses about 30 seconds on that climb. There's a little false summit, and they do the Porte de l'Air, which is not as steep, and Kelderman takes actually more time out of the breakaway there. So not looking good for the stage win prospects of Carapaz, Hindley, and Ricky Mas, who on a different day, without one of the GC teams chasing behind, would have been able to fight for the stage win. And everyone's looking to refuel in the valley before Plateau de Beille. Jorgensen's giving the international signal for I'm going to get a bid on. He goes to the back. Kelderman keeps pacing the valley. Carlos Rodriguez, could he move over Almeida on GC? Could he, if Remco has a problem, threaten the podium? We're about to find out. Plateau de Beille starts, and the race already explodes with Jorgensen smashing it on the front. Vingegaard on the wheel. Pogacar glued to his wheel, looking pretty comfortable. The shirt's done up. Cadence looks good. The breakaway starts to self-immolate with, just attacking each other. I guess they weren't going to win anyway, so it doesn't matter. But they really didn't work too well together on the final climb. But the question is, how long could Jorgensen keep this up? There's no Sepp Kuss here, and he's setting a furious pace. That's obvious. Almeida's dropped. Chiccone's dropped. Eventually, Santiago Buitrago's starting to struggle. Rodriguez is losing the wheel a little bit, but Pogacar still looks pretty fresh. His cadence is good, as I said, and the toughs are out, but the pressure's on with Rodriguez gone. The group is down to about 5 riders, and we see Jorgensen doing his final lead out, still with about 11 Ks to go for the GC group, and Vingegaard drops the attack. Pogacar glued to the wheel. There was no Col de la Loze or Col du Granon or Altacam moment. Pogacar was glued to the wheel the whole time. Remco wisely decided to ride his own pace, and he shored up the 3rd position on GC. The Plus probably useful for Rodriguez as a satellite rider, but here you can see Pogacar was pretty relaxed. If you're going to ride no hands, take a bit on, pour it over yourself mid-climb, then probably you're not really right on the limit, but Vingegaard keeps the pressure on. Probably not much else he could try and do at this point than hope he could grind Pogacar off his wheel on the steeper gradients. It goes up 12%. Here's his last dig. You can see there's a bit of a gap to Pogacar, so Vingegaard's clearly accelerating, but then he gets back in the saddle, looks back to see, oh no, Pogacar's still there, and Pogacar reacts straight away on that, attacks Vingegaard, who can't respond, and with 5.4 Ks to go, the GC lead of Pogacar looks set to expand even further. He already had 1 minute 57 before the stage, and on Plateau de Beille, despite Visma Lease bike in the heat over all the long climbs, over 5,000 meters altitude gain, and then Vingegaard with a strong attack at a good level, despite them throwing all that at Tadej Pogacar, he reigns supreme, destroying the record on the climb, making history on Plateau de Beille, and looking pretty unbeatable in this year's Tour de France, winning the stage 108 ahead of Vingegaard, 251 ahead of Evenepoel, then 354 to Landa, Almeida, Yates, Buitrago, Rodriguez, Carapaz, Gol bring up the rest of the top 10. Here's what Pogacar had to say after the stage.
I would never imagine this kind of outcome after second week at the beginning. So yeah, I'm super happy with my shape. Also today was super hot, and yeah, it was a really hard day. Usually I always struggle with the heat, and today the team did super good job with cooling me down and everything, and yeah, it was an incredible day.
Were you worried about the tactics of Visma Lease bike? They decided to make the race really hard today.
Yeah, they decided to control today and make hard pace on the climbs, but yeah, I was never worried. I just keep my mind in keeping myself cool and hydrating and eating enough. So when we come to the bottom of the last climb, yeah, it was yeah, I was the limit a little bit when Jonas tried to drop me, but then I could see that he's also starting to suffering a bit. So when he tried to drop me the last time, then I saw that he don't have the legs to go to the top. So I tried my own, but yeah, it was super tough in the final.
In terms of GC, no changes in the top 4, but Landa actually moves ahead of Rodriguez, who didn't work so well today on Plateau de Beille in the heat. So Landa having a fantastic Tour de France. The gaps between first, second, third, and fourth seem pretty, well, not seem, they are pretty big. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you with a recap of Stage 16 on Tuesday.